Hi everyone, my name is Princess, and if you're new on this channel, I talk about everything in my life. I talk about child training. I do a little bit of singing because I love to sing, and I also talk about self-discovery. It's just where I just talk and sing and smile and encourage everyone out there. So today I'm just talking about boredom. Boredom for children, for adults. Recently, I've begun to work on my children, trying to disconnect them from too much electronics. I noticed after a while that recently my children always would say they're bored. If we're driving, they want to go in the car before we go to church with the iPad, or they want a phone, or they want some form of electronics. And with my husband, we're working on them and trying to make them to realize that there are other things in life and there are other things that you can focus on apart from just phones and electronics and just flipping through one video or the other, or just be every time connected to electronics. And I was talking with a friend and she said something to me that marked me. I asked her, do your children say that they're bored? And what do you do when it's like that? Do you try to give them something like else to do? Do you make them to read? Like, what do you do to make them, excited? I don't know if I'll say excited or take them out of their boredom. Right? Because sometimes when the kids say, oh mommy, I'm bored, I begin to feel like, okay, what can I give them to do? And usually at the beginning, I would like to give them a book to read, and I notice that they will not be excited. You get this, their shoulders will go down and they'll be like, and I was wondering, these kids of nowadays, how do we parents who are very busy juggling all the things that happen in our life, how do we handle them so that we not make them addicted to phones, to electronics? And how do you help children of nowadays to be constructive, to be analytic, to have just this pleasure like we used to have as children, just this pleasure in reading, in having a creative mind, in thinking and building on their imaginations, that's out of screen time, out of just looking out, watching a movie, watching, something on YouTube, or just watching. And what this lady said to me meant a lot to me. Sorry, that's for that noise. So what this lady said to me made me to think back, to stop and to ask myself questions. I am the parent here, and I should be able to mold the kids. Myself and my husband have to find a way, and most time kids stay with the mother. You have to find a way to mold them in a certain way. You have to find a way to make them to understand certain principles that will carry them long and far in life. And so I've started to say this now to my son. Once he tells me that I'm bored, or my daughter says I'm bored, and she gives you that face of gloomy, and there's nothing else that I can do now. If you say I cannot watch, then what do I do now? What do you want me to do now? I tell them, you know what? It's okay to be bored. It's okay to be bored. You cannot all the time you're lying down, you want to have the iPad, because my kids normally don't have the right to any screen time during the week. The only time they can watch is on weekends, when there is no school, or on holidays. Of course, limited time on holidays, like in between, but at least they get to watch something on the TV, any of their shows during their holidays or on weekends. So my kids now look forward to Fridays, but we can't just allow them to be so addicted. How can we make them do better in life? There's a lot of distractions in the world that is full of distractions. Sometimes nothingness is important. It's okay not to have anything to do. It's okay to be bored. If you feel that you don't feel like reading, if you think that you don't feel like reading all the books that I've gotten in the library, I take them to the library and I tell them to choose any book that they love to read. Interesting book. It can be comic books, it can be like short stories or anything that they like to read. My daughter sometimes likes to look at journals, and I tell her, you can pick any journal that you like. If we've taken all this number of books, and in spite of all that we have picked, you still feel that you are bored, then it's okay to be bored. It's okay to be bored sometimes. It's okay to just sit there and feel bored and have nothing to do. Let your imagination fly. Let your imagination now take control. Start to think, imagine things, imagine a story. If you want to write down that story after you have imagined it, or just be quiet. The world we live in nowadays is a world of distractions. Children are distracted. They're always running after. They want everything to go like this, like this, like this, and they just want to be, just cool. Children don't want to flip through the pages of a book. They just want, everything to just be there in front of them. No stress. I just sit down. I just watch. I don't do anything else. I just watch. As parents, it's a lot. In this, especially in the Western world, it's different from how we grew up as children, where books was our own excitement. Going outside to play with friends was our own excitement. But now, children nowadays, what they want is different, completely different from what we enjoyed as children. But we need to bring these good cultures back, because if there are no readers, there cannot be writers. And as they say, readers are leaders. If we want our children to be leaders tomorrow, we have to work on them. We have to instill into them some of these good values, like reading good books, learning something from the book that you read. Write out what you learned. Add your own, what you brought out from it. What are your imagination? How can you, express what you think? How can you, be creative? These are some of the things that I'm learning, and as a parent, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning, and I just thought that I could share. I don't know, what are your experiences with these children of nowadays, as the Gen Z parents, the new generation parents that we are, with children that are in, my son is now 2 digits. He's 2 digits, as he says now. He's getting close to becoming a teenager, and I have to be firm. I have to teach him the best value. This is the right time to instill the best value into him. If I want him to be somebody great in life, I have to be strong, and with his dad and myself, we have to be strong, determined, and try to find other ways to, to engage him apart from reading his book and mathematics and arithmetics and what have you. Other things I want to introduce him to painting. He's also interested when he does some music. As you can see, I've released some of his videos of him playing the piano. He is learning the piano, but I want to also have him doing other things apart from just spending too much time before the screen. So I'm working on what can he do. I'm looking at other things that he can do. In our country where it's always cold in winter, it's the hardest. Holidays in winter is the hardest for parents. It's hard for you to tell them not to watch when you are busy working, especially when you work from home like me most of the time. Then it's difficult for you to concentrate on your work and still be able to handle the kids that are always telling you that they are bored, and they cannot go outside because it's really cold out there, and also whatever it is, really, really, really cold. They don't know what to do. But now I've gotten a lot of, papers for them to paint and books for them to write on. I told them every day they have to do some journaling. And there's a lot of things that maybe some parents like you guys have adopted, and I would be happy to learn. Other parents are also interested in learning what methods that you're using with your children to help them to be much more than watching, studying. There are other things that they can do. What are the things that you do to help your children become more creative? And what are the programs that you introduce them to? Thank you so much for staying so far. That's my short video here. I hope that somebody is blessed by this, and that I can learn something from somebody who would want to share what are their routines, what are the ways that they do with their own children to make them to be creative, to make them to deal with the boredom. Always boredom. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and support my my channel. And your comments are very important to me. I like to read them because I am someone who likes to learn. I believe that I can always learn from people, and I am happy to share programs that people, you know, register the children for, and that I can also register my children too, and so that they can grow the right way. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.